because there was no hearing today doesn't mean that the Menendez family wasn't heard. They came anyway, and they marched on the DA's office building, giving him a piece of their mind. That DA, Nathan Hochman, says the brothers should serve every day of life without parole, unless and until they come clean on what the DA says are 16 lies. Hochman doesn't hold all the cards, though. California's governor says that Lyle and Erik will have parole board hearings in June and that clemency remains a possibility. Among the people speaking at today's pro-Menendez rally was Michael Mendoza, who for a time was incarcerated with Lyle Menendez, where the two of them became friends. And Michael Mendoza is kind enough to join me now live. Michael, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate this. I'm so fascinated by the life that Erik and Lyle have led behind bars. We read the reports, and the reports are glowing, that they've done all the right things, they've barely been in trouble, and that they've done things above and beyond what pretty much most inmate would ever do. But I haven't had a chance to speak to somebody who's actually served. So I would love to hear your recollections of your time with Lyle.
Yes, thank you, Ashleigh. Well, let me just quickly describe that my interaction was brief in months. This was in 1999 when I was just 17 years old. And unfortunately, I had found myself within the criminal justice system at a time when they weren't separating kids from adults. And so at this moment, I was scared for my life, being on the prison yard with other adults and, being fortunate enough to run into Lyle on the prison yard when he, looked at me and said, "You look very young. You look way too young to be here. What are you doing here?" And it was a moment where I realized somebody was really concerned about me, and that made me feel safe. And so having Lyle for a very few months as a mentor meant a lot. It went a long ways for me. It really showed me in terms of where you should be focused on. That's rehabilitation, and that's what I saw from him. So it was really, really a pivotal moment for me to meet somebody who was on that same path as an example for the kind of path I was supposed to be on as well.
Yeah, well, listen, you really turned your life around. You're now, after serving 17 years, you're working within organizations to try to, make the criminal justice system better and make things better for those who've served when they get out. Do you think that your meeting with Lyle at such a young age may have started you on that track? Because I think that would be something they would want to highlight. Like, look, I meet people like Mike Mendoza, and I changed their lives in prison.
I think that's an important point and factor in my life that led me to success of many others. But we at Latino Justice, a civil rights organization, are in strong support of this rally because we believe in ending extreme sentences. And what I'm really grateful for is not just that Erik and Lyle have been doing a tremendous job taking advantage of rehabilitation, but they have their family who are strong supporters and a huge support system that are helping them and urging them and keeping hope alive for them to come home. And those are very, very important factors. And so for us as a civil rights organization, we believe that no one should begin a life without parole sentence. It's extremely inhumane. It does not do anything for people in prison. I was around people who were serving life without parole, and it could be a very hopeless environment, one that most people don't make it from. And so getting rid of that sentence, giving people hope, is what public safety is really about. Redemption does lead to public safety, and they're a really great example of that.
I only have a couple seconds left, Michael, but what do you say to the folks who say, look, life without parole is life without parole. If you shoot your parents like this, the law is the law. That's what Nathan Hochman was elected on. What do you say to those people?
I think that kind of law has not worked in our history. We have a system of mass incarceration. Victims do not receive healing. And it's time to take a new approach, and that's one of moral value. We, as a country, we should not be living in terms of an eye for an eye, but we should be living based on the principles of redemption, hope, mercy, and forgiveness. That's the kind of country in America that we want to live in. And I think that's what we're talking about here at this moment.
Well, you're a great example of it, that's for sure. You walk the walk and you talk the talk. Michael Mendoza, thanks so much for doing this tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ashleigh.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.